Sometimes I get mad. Sometimes I feel things are getting out of hand. Sometimes I feel like I don't have a clue. The only thing that helps, the only thing I can do is play the blues. Play the blues. I play nothing but the blues. I play the blues. I play the blues. I play nothing but the blues. Nothing but the blues. Sometimes I'm down. Sometimes I am depressed. Sometimes I have a problem. I need to get it off my chest. Sometimes I need a friend that I can talk to. But if no one is around, the only thing I can do is play the blues. I play the blues. I play nothing but the blues. I play the blues. Yes, I play the blues. I play nothing but the blues. Nothing but the blues. So I play the blues on my guitar. When I play the blues, I feel better than before. Blues makes me feel like a better man. When I play the blues, well, I feel good again. So I play nothing but the blues. 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 Play the blues when I am sad, then all my problems don't seem to hurt so bad. So I play nothing but the blues. I play nothing but the blues. I play nothing but the blues. I play nothing but the blues.
The views expressed in the following show are of the host, the guest, and the callers. The content of the following show, its accuracy, authenticity, and the ramifications of the use or application of said content is the responsibility of those speaking and listening, not the broadcast medium.
To the fight.
We are back and we are live, feet to the fire. I'm your host, James Yanchek, the Black Knight of Talk Radio. Well, we're live. So far, my broadcast is last time I had problems with it, and here's YouTube now is having outages. Big one up in England and Netherlands. Apparently, they're doing a Brexit shuffle over there. But here I am in the Chicago area, and it's red for many reasons around here. Anyway, in case you're not getting this or whatever, so far so good, but, I'm recording it locally and I'll upload it. It's no biggie. No biggie other than that. See, I tested my up and download speeds, no problem, doing my work. And so there you go. Welcome to the program today. It is kind of a numeric number, 18 or 11, 18, 18. November 18th, 2018, getting to the end of the year. A couple of things before we get into our, is it the do's? Did the do's do it? Is it done by the do's? Do be a doobie, don't be a doobie, again, etc. Not to make fun of any of the fires, of course. But I wanted to get through some of the other news items briefly, and then I can go into what I have prepared. Where's my magic button here? There we go. That's wrong screen. There we go. Just posted about the YouTube. Might not be in there. There's the advert for the show. Now, this is pretty good. The Voice of Europe. People talk about the EU taking sovereignty from nations, and it's a conspiracy theory, etc., etc. Well, when it comes from their own lips, it's worth noting. So let me get to this. It was a tweet by the Voice of Europe. Oh, we're not hearing it. Now, you really need to hear this, so I got to find out why it's not.
And that is the real problem, colleagues. Why there is such a problem in this crisis? Because member states are reluctant to transfer new sovereignty and powers to the European Union. And we all know that the only way out of this crisis is a new transfer of powers to the European Union and to the European institutions.
There you go. If there was any doubt in one's mind, here it comes from the EU itself. One of the problems is, gosh darn it, they don't want to give up their sovereignty and their powers. Well, who do these nations think they are? So, in case somebody thinks you're some kind of conspiracy nut, of course, that's so prevalent now. Interesting, Amnesty strips Aung San Suu Kyi, I'm sure I said it wrong or whatever, of its highest honor. And then the Obama's Peace Prize should be next. Of course, this is from RT, so I risk posting this and being named in some kind of Russian conspiracy of disinformation, but you can read the article. These people are getting awards from, as a celebrity. Yeah, Obama has passing out the Medal of Freedom like they're chiclets or candy or whatever. So there's, perhaps some of these things. I thought I would put that up there. Apparently, Ronald thought I was actually worried or apologizing. It was all sarcasm. And then we'll get to the fires in a minute. I posted a couple of videos. I'm not going to play them, but I will link them. You could find this person on Headlines Without a Voice is the channel on YouTube. I recommend them. I post them. She had put one up a little while earlier I didn't agree with, so I didn't bother to post it. It's not I didn't agree with it. I thought it was wrong, incorrect. So again, anything I post does not mean that the source is infallible and should be adhered to without question. Adhered to like the EU. They're just, everyone's got their own niches and natches, if that's such a word. And so I do post stuff that I'm sure people don't agree with everything I say, and you can pick and choose as you see fit. I saw fit to pass these on because the media is apparently claiming that the caravan is a myth. It's a lie. It's a gross exaggeration from a few people. And of course, there's plenty of video evidence. But a new all-time. This is the breaking point. This whole thing with Costa, getting his pass and all that. When he denied touching her, and the film showed that he did. I mean, he didn't beat her arm, but he pushed her away. The film clearly showed that. Paul Joseph Watson zoomed in closer. Them claiming A, it was doctored, and B, he did not touch her. Put that line down. Write that down somewhere. The date, time. That's a line in the sand. Now they are taking bare, plain, obvious, straight-on video and saying, are you going to believe me or your lying eyes? That's crossed the line. They've always, when they've come after Alex Jones, for example, and mentioned things he didn't do, he never said, being a longtime listener, he never said that there was nobody killed in the school shooting in New York, but his personality, let's say, how does he put it, his performance news, and how his hyperbolic reactions, time to go with the camera switching and all this stuff, it does, unfortunately, color a lot of the truth that's coming out through there. But they do take and exaggerate. In the case, it's a lie, but Alex gives him a lot to work with. But this is a bold-faced, unedited video taken at the place, all over the net. You don't have to just watch Watson's video, which is nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's absolutely fine. There's no alterations other than to zoom in to see it closer. I didn't bother putting that up here. I mean, it's all over the place. I'm assuming you do it. I could put it in the links, I guess. But when they said, no, I didn't touch him, they lied. Put that in the book. Write that in the tally book. That's a turn in the corner. To me, in this, if you want to look at CN being the center of the propaganda that's being put forth by these networks, if you want to just kind of put them as the poster child for this propaganda system, and he might be the focal point of CNN, him or Don Lemon, but when they said it was a lie, I didn't touch him, and clearly he did. Bam. Write that down. The way I look at the future is being created. And right now, the reason why things are so tumultuous is so many vortexes have come. And when prophets, Jesus said, no man know the day or the hour of stuff that's happening, at return of Christ, whatever, but things happening in the future, is because it hasn't been created yet. God knows. God's like beginning and the end, so he knows, but no one knows. So we're in this area of time, and no one knows what's going to happen because all these choices have to be made in order to create the future. One big one was made right there, I think. The line has been drawn. They got caught on video in reality doing something, and they lied and went against video. All right, so I don't mean to make a big... So going back to that, this crisis in Tijuana, they say it doesn't exist. Of course, they're not covering it. They're not sending down reporters saying, look, there's nothing here. Because it is true. And so these few videos that I have here are showing what's going on. I read an article about someone who wrote a piece. I was a little suspect of it. It was too perfectly planned in English by a Mexican journalist, bilingual journalist, to fit right in to the, I don't know what you want to call it, the conspiracy niche, the people who default with it's a conspiracy. Many times it is, but when they default to that, everything isn't as it is. There's always this hidden thing behind it. It was like delivered right for that area, and then it could be applied to people on the right. So I myself didn't put that forward, but these were pretty good. I'm talking a little more than I wanted to. I got rid of some of my hum. I got rid of major hum. It's quiet. You probably can't hear it. I couldn't hear it anyway, so I was really happy about that. Passed along for those who may be interested. Here's some more articles. This is on America One News Network. about violence breaking up between migrants and the Mexican residents. Interesting on this, let me stop and say that they have video of the local people living in the Mexican town, and what is it? I forgot this city. Tijuana? It's a very, very big name. I just drawing a blank. But they show, there it says Tijuana right in the actual text, okay. So they have these footage, of protests of people arguing, and they're speaking Spanish, of course, or Mexican, and translated. They are Mexican, they're a Hispanic race. Well, Latino, I don't know what the correct word is. I guess Hispanic isn't accepted now, Latino, whatever you want to call that heritage. I always I thought they were white. All my life, there was white, black, and Asian. I mean, that was it, right? But now but anyway, they, the native Mexicans are saying to the other Latino, however, say, hey, we don't want you here. We don't want you coming in. Our job situation is bad enough. We don't want you here. So there's no bad old white men in the group. There's no white at all in the group. The concept is not white versus Hispanic. The concept is a country, a city, country, an economic region, which is bound by borders, be it a city border or state border or whatever, that is having someone flooding in and upsetting the socioeconomic condition or in crime of the area. That's what it's about. I don't care what color they are. I don't care what they are. This is what it's about. You're taking somebody outside of a culture. Now, here you have someone from Honduras and Guatemala and all that, and Mexico, and even there is a problem, right? Let alone going up into America. So I thought that was a very good video showing that. Very interesting. I'm not going to go into it, but a very interesting article, Bill Still, about truth about Hillary and Benghazi. Very interesting. Very interesting. It's worth a show in itself, but I'll leave it be because I got to just do some things. I got some pictures. I wrote this down, got some challenges to my word choice. One must beware of moving from delusion into fantasy. Perhaps I should write delusion into illusion. But my point is, one can be deluded by somebody. All right, I've led you astray. And in order to combat that delusion, you create a fantasy, which is also not real, to combat the delusion. And what I meant by that, referring to Q, now you have Sessions is gone, and Mueller's doubling down even more. So it's like that little thing, they're all working together to get Hillary. And now that the Dems are in there, they're going to cut down all the investigations and go after Trump and all that. But anyway, that's the point. If you wake up one day and realize that you've been had, be careful not to create your own illusion to combat the delusion. That's what I was saying there, I guess. Not being a poet. It's just funny. I'm not going to go into all the election stuff. I'm sure many people have. Broward County brings expert to consult and speed up counting, and it was a great, whoever edited this did a great job and put the count in with Snipes. Or is it Snipes? No, Snipes. Wesley, yeah, Snipes. So you got the count in there. That is the thing. That whole thing is complete fake or false. I mean, what do you want me to say? It's fake and false and everything else. You steal the election, they all come up, we're done. Oh, we found all these elections and 90% of them it's all fake. It's just the way it is. So I'll let that go. This is very interesting. Why the GOP couldn't stop Dem voter fraud. It's very interesting. I really recommend it. There was a court action against voter suppression by the GOP many years ago, and they were acting in a court order. They could not get involved with recounts and everything. But that has passed. That has. You listen to the story. I don't want to take your time in it now. I'll put the links down. But if you go to Bill Still on the YouTube, so I think that's it. Oh, one other thing. Apparently, they are trying to use Tesla's technology. There's a new Tesla tower has been built in Texas. And there's a video by these people who were driving by, and they went, wow, look at it. It almost looks like a Tesla tower. And after doing some research and so forth, they found out that it actually is. And these guys are working on transmitting power and data and information using a Tesla tower. So Tesla. And Tesla is, stuff is coming back there. Okay, so, another big thing is psychotic drugs and school shootings. There we go. Finally, we got a nice MD coming in and saying something I've been talking about. He has the chops to deal with it, scientifically. So another important video that I'd recommend people watch and pass around. All right, I think I'm done with this. I just can't. Yeah, Trump defended me. That's pretty good. But his video. All right, I'm going to let that go because I want to get to. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to get to. All right, now. Bear with me on this. I want to say a few things. I should say a few things on it. We're talking about the direct energy weapons. I am not opposed. See, I don't come into the table saying it can't be direct energy weapons or it is. I'm coming in saying what makes one say whatever. And there is analyzing and so forth that can go through. The problem is if you're given a picture of a finished project, like I wrote in someone's page, and when you see a skinned cat, there are many ways to skin a cat. You've heard that phrase. Well, when you come across the skinned cat, you have to figure out which method they used. I mean, it's kind of gross, and this is what we're doing. We're seeing these wildfires. And they're devastating. They're terrible. So now we have to go back and figure out how they started and whatnot. And what we're having a lot of people put out video, they put out pictures. Actually, let me go to the pictures first. There's all these pictures that are being put out saying this is absolute proof of direct energy weapons. And they're showing these pictures, and it's terrible devastation. You have trees that are fine, and the home is gone. You have some homes that are there, some aren't. You have, here's one where the line, they're claiming a straight line. So the assertion is that the weapon went down and drew a straight line on the ground. You have cars being burned. There are videos that are being put out with no context, meaning that where did it come from? Is it even from the fire? I mean, it could be. I'm not saying it isn't, but there's no context to it. This particular video here is, to me, is a little suspect because if you look at the color and so forth, it looks to me like it may have been enhanced on there, but not to get caught up by one particular picture and argue about one picture. I wanted to go through a bunch of you're seeing all of these pictures. In this case, you see this car burned out, right? But the trees are all burned out too. Very important to notice. I have a picture that I have put aside, which is a great example of showing that while there are areas where, what did I do with it? Let me just grab it and slap it up here just for a second. Here, I'm going to put it over me. You see, that's a very good picture because it shows the devastation of the cars, it shows the buildings gone, but all the trees are gone, burnt too. So it's not just that the trees are sitting alive, but let me get into all this. First off, I have said before that a lot of the pictures, when they show the actual direct energy weapons, there's only been a few Look at this one. This is, you know, come on. This is real. Sort of flying around in drones, shooting these things. I thought I was from space. So a lot of this stuff, you know, is, you know, in fact, when they show the laser cannons, I actually saw some video on laser cannons. You don't see anything. When the laser goes off, the other end starts to burn. There's nothing. You see nothing because the light needs a medium to show itself. I mean, the sun shines at us, and if it's cloudy out, if there's a fog, it'll. But when you're talking about light going from one point to another, it has to hit a source. You have to see the source, or so you can't look at the light beam unless there's smoke or something. So these are you know, of course that's just lighting. So let me go back to this. First off, the pictures. This is my whole point of the pictures. I'm gonna go with this first. Is that when you actually take a picture, I thought I had a couple of them queued up. Well, let's look at this one right out here, right next to me here. Oh, it's this way. You'll always see, this is the daytime one, so this is kind of rare, but most of these are at night. And what you'll see is, do I have another one behind it? No, there's another one here. Let me grab it. What you'll see from these pictures, and I'm not picking and choosing. I just put them over me. That's fine. These are in the daytime, so these are rare. Most of them are at night, and I'll show you a video I have in a minute. But what you will see is, you'll see the beam coming down, and there's the fire, right? But what is in both videos as well, and this, they're cut off. I'm just going to say not intentionally, okay, but maybe. They're cut off from the sun. And whenever you have a situation where a very, very powerful light source, and this, is my understanding, is more so in CCD devices, which are most cameras now. There's no film. It's capturing it on a electronic device, sensors. When you have a very high contrast situation, when you have either it's dark out and you have a light, or you have even a light day with a brighter source, when that light comes in and hits the lens and in there, it causes these lines. I mean, you could do it. You could do it all over the place, right? This is you'll notice that in each cases you see right up on top there's the sun. Right up on top there is the sun. It's coming from the sun. Now, where it comes down in this situation, I don't know if this guy took to take a picture and it was there. I mean, he could have put it in afterwards. I mean, again, you don't know. You got to, you know, if your life is on the line, you're being said you're going to be put away for murder. You got to look at all options, right? And you'd be very happy if you didn't do it. You want to see them look at the options. So this is one of the things I'm talking about is the lights. And I did have let's see, where was that? Here's the bigger picture of this one. Oh, you can't see that. Okay. Here's the bigger. I wonder if I was still. Yeah. Okay. Here's the bigger picture of one I just showed, and coming down, and the sun is up in this area here. This is the one that I am suspect of because of the way the lights are. I mean, it could be after the rush, and I'll get to that in a minute too. There's more. This could be the fire could have rushed through here, and this is the aftermath. Okay, so that's fine. Saying that there's people running around in the cars, I don't see any. So they, you know, the fire was coming, they got out of their cars and left. I don't know where they could have went. Hopefully they're okay. So the actual pictures of the direct energy weapon, and they're all going to be, there's a famous one going around. You know, that's what I forgot to get. Gosh darn it. I forgot to get the one that I got from, all right, well, I'm going to have to move on. It's a live show. So I want you to watch this video very closely because this is the one that tells it all, shows the lens apparatus happening live on the video. And I'll get into the other aspects about the trees and whatnot. That's all coming. So hold on for a minute. So that's coming. But watch this video. I'm going to try and stop it and restart it. I got the video off there because there's some swearing in there. Obviously, people are upset they're watching this. Right? So watch the video. If you're at home, I'll post links to all this stuff. Oh, okay, now watch. This is what he later goes on. Did I screw it up? All right, there we go. If I got to try and go back a frame. All right, now watch this. This is a person standing here at the fire. This person is going to take a picture with a flash. The flash goes off. Now you have a dark area, and you have the high contrast of the flash. The flash goes off in her hand, and you see the so-called the direct energy weapon, but you'll see that the flash where it supposedly hits is her light, and you'll actually see some light going the other way. Let me see if I can. Right, there we go. It's important. If I can get that one frame, I would have set this up beforehand if I thought it was going to be so difficult. I'm going to try and inch it through. All right, here she is. Right there. There she is, or he, or it. It doesn't sound good. There we go. So now it gives the impression that the direct energy weapon is hitting. Now notice that the light's in front of this person standing there. So the light is going past her and it's in front of her, and as it goes up, it disappears in the top because the actual source of this is the flash that's happening right here. And when the flash happens, it sends up, and it actually goes past her too. There's the person, the flash is gone. Nothing else happened around her. There's no new fires. There's nothing there, and that person is there, and you can see him moving. See him walking? I got a flag. So this person took, and this is the whole proof, the whole point of where all these come from. This is since we always see a still, right? So if I took a still like that and said, there's a direct energy weapon hidden there, you could look at it and go, yeah, look at it. Yeah, oh, you know. And you could see, well, look, you know, but this is why stills pictures are deceiving. You ever see a picture of a newborn baby? You take a picture of him, and the baby's eyes just happen to be coming like past the camera. If you had a video and you're watching it, you know the eye, they didn't even control their own head. They're like looking around, and if they happen to hit the video, he's like, oh, he was looking at me. Look in the picture, he was looking at me, but in reality, it wasn't. You have to see the context of it all. And I'll have the links for all this stuff so you guys can fool with it. But you can see that the flash is gone, momentarily there, and gone. There's the flash. It's gone. That's what creates all of these. And they got ones that are more blatant, or you can see are phony. That is the cause for those videos. Now, this person in this video goes back and forth and back and forth to look at it. But clear enough, there's a person right there. And they took the picture. Very important. That is a live video explaining all of them. Because when I looked at it, I don't have it with me. I would have kept it, except they didn't actually show. They were talking about it, and they were showing the results of the laser cannon hitting their object. And all it did was start on fire and explode. There was no beams. You don't see anything. Direct energy weapons that, for example, there's evidence that direct energy weapon hit the Twin Towers one at a time. There was no beam. Because when you deal with scalar weapons or other types, John Hutchinson, look up John Hutchinson stuff, these things are real. When you deal with it, the result is only the end. There's no like beam coming down. It's like if you shoot radiation at you, the emitter may have light, but you can see the effect of it, but you don't see the beams. In fact, a lot of the movies and all that where they show lasers, what they're doing is they're putting smoke purposely, steam up there, so that people can see the lasers and don't walk into them and touch them or whatever. Because light has no inherent energy to glow. It has to go through a medium to be seen. And so I guess one more time, see if we can do this. You see the flash, and that's the person there. And that is that. So, next. Out of memory, yeah. Well, let me go to, this is very good. This, as I was doing my preparations, I came across this article, and I thought, well, I just show the article, I'm done, right? But I had these other videos I wanted to mention about. He goes through, and of course, he's debunking conspiracy theories. I don't like the idea of debunking conspiracy theories. Let's find what really happened. Let's find reality. And so when we go looking for reality, there's no, you're a conspiracy theorist. Oh, yeah, well, you're a propagandist. You want to find out the real deal. Well, let's go looking for it in here, So this guy puts a video together. I'm not going to play it, but I will take some of his pictures. Here's some of these pictures, right? Now, he goes through and it shows his house is wood. There's his house, is wood. He cuts down a piece of tree, puts it in a fireplace along with a piece of wood. He's filming it. After a while, the actual wood that's dried and in your house burns part of the way through. The live green wood only is charred on the outside. Here's the example. Same fire, same time, puts the wood in. Because this is full of water, it's wet. The bark itself is a protectant. It's full of water. This is already dried out. In fact, when you buy the wood, it's kiln dried. So this is what happens why trees don't burn and houses do. But there's more. This guy did a real good job. He went back to 1983 in Victoria, Australia, showing pictures. Same deal. Houses destroyed, trees all around. This is 1994. New South Wales. 2009 in Victoria. I presume the guy might be Australian. This would be easiest for him. He knows about this. Here is 1961, the Bel Air fire. House is gone, trees. And let me see if I can just play this. Yeah. So what happens, there's two things. Here's the Bel Air, here's a video on the Bel Air fire. I'm not going to, again, play it all, but you can watch all this stuff. This is very well done. Here's pictures, some more. So, now, let me get to this picture for a minute. I want to skip it around, but there's no context to this picture at all. Everything else is around it is fine. There's something there's no context to this at all. This could have been the fire, the car itself could have burned. If there is a brush fire that came by and caught the car on fire, if that's what this is, then the cars are full of plastic. Cars are very flammable. And so for wheels, they don't necessarily use aluminum. They use composites, which have a lower melting point. And so it's not, by looking at this and saying this is a direct injury, what does it mean? They shot him out of the sky to hit this thing? So you have different items. So let me explain. What happens is a tree is living. It's real. It's alive. It's got water. So what happens is these embers are blown through with the wind. Burning embers are blown with the wind. They land in a tree. They land in a house. The tree got wet in it. Even if it's dried out from the winds and all that, it's still alive and got wet. So the ember has a finite it had the fuel source of the ember is being used up because it's glowing all the way through. It's already burning. It's fine. So it's got to find that fuel source. It's going to have to raise the temperature of the surrounding area so it's losing energy to the leaves, evergreen or otherwise, or losing energy to the wood, the water, which is taking its time to heat up, and the water itself is cooling off the living tree. What happens is the ember will start to diminish in heat, and it ends up going to a non-flammable state, and the heat has been dissipated by the water in the tree. Tree does not burn. Ember falls on top of a roof, just like the guy showed up in back here in his original assertion. Living tree. What happens is the dried out wood of the house, whether it's asphalt shingles or wood shingles would be even worse. The ember falls on there. It's able to raise the wood shingle, the dried wood shingle, especially if it's wind dried, both in construction and it hasn't rained. It raises the temperature of that wood to its combustion point, which now then raises the molecules next to it, the next to it, next to it, next to it, and so on. And then if you add wind in there, blowing, that is adding extra oxygen. If you look at blast furnaces, they're melting lead and melting all the stuff using a regular natural gas fire. But they turn up the gas and they turn up the oxygen and put it together, so they get welding torches. So you have the trees being resistant to burning, the houses not being resistant to burning. It's not coming through with a wall of fire. It's coming through with embers in the wind. But there are cases of wall of fire. And when you see, I put up a picture like that. Let me put this up. Let me put it back up here. When you see a case where a wall of fire comes through, you'll see the trees are burnt. All the leaves are burnt off. They're burnt, as well as everything else has been affected by it. That's a wall of fire. These other pictures are embers that landed in the trees in the wood, and it caused this problem. Now, I want to mention these trees are alive, right? And they may not be for long, because what happens when you have a fire? The excessive heat, even though it doesn't burn the tree, it raises the temperature up to a amount where cells start to die off. Use yourself, for example. If you were to be raised to a certain temperature, you would die long before you would ignite on fire. And so with the trees, got the water in this resistance of fire, but they have been affected by the trees. And I will include these links as well. There's all kinds of articles. Delayed conifer tree mortality following fire in California. Prediction of delayed mortality of fire-damaged ponderosa pine. A field guide to predict delayed mortality of fire damage. Modeling tree mortality following wildfire, Pinus ponderosa forest. Understanding and improving modeling of fire-induced tree mortality. And you can go on and on and on. Hydraulic death, the hydraulic death hypothesis, where they talk about how the water in the actual items has been raised so that it causes cellular death and weakness, and the trees end up dying. So, in summarizing, what we have here is you have the. Let me just go back to here. You have the pictures of the energy weapons from space are due to an effect of a light from the sun or another bright source, such as this flash that I showed you. That light is hitting the apparatus, the phone apparatus, causing, and I don't know what the term is, the lens flare is not correct, but it's causing, and I guess I should try and find out what that is. If somebody was a photographer, let me know so I could put this on. But to try and research what's that called, it's a little difficult sometimes. It ends up where it's an effect where it affects either the lens and or the CCD that's in the camera, overloading it. This is a result. And we saw it with that lady, well, with that person. I don't know why am I saying it's a lady. I don't know. The person was taking a picture. You saw the flash come. You saw the so-called DEW coming down. You see the result, you know. Now, she was still there. Or I keep saying, I guess I could say she was still there, unharmed, walking about afterwards, even though the so-called hit was right there. And the person doing the video, I watched it, didn't say this. I mean, I didn't watch their whole video because a lot of it was the same pictures I saw, and this was a new one. So that is explained. Why are the trees not burnt and the houses burnt? Because the embers would land on the trees, fizzle out. The embers that land on the houses burn it down. And some houses don't burn down because by chance, no big enough embers landed on the house, so they also died out. Winds could have blew off the embers, what have you. Once the fire gets going, the wind's going to fuel it. It's going to burn it to the ground. And all the houses there are all wood houses. I mean, in Chicago, there's a lot of brick houses. So if it was a Chicago, you'd see the brick Hulk, and you'd see the roof gone and the flooring in there gone. The fact that the walls can burn and everything like that makes it burn more complete. Why are some trees burned? Why are there whole areas that are wiped out that don't have this patch work? Well, it's because there was a wall of fire. When a wall of fire does come in and burns through, it burns everything. And in fact, let me get to another video. I just found this while I was waiting to go live. And I put it up here. Again, these are videos. I'm not trying to take away the person's... Let me go back. Here's a person who filmed leaving the fire. I'll have all these links, too, of course. This guy's driving through. Now, this is a wallow fire. Right, so all these trees are burning. You could see them burning as you're driving through it. It depends how high it goes up. Here, the cabin caught on fire. Both sides, he ran through a 30-foot-long flame, driven by 60-mile-an-hour winds. A huge, barely got out with his three dogs. Now you see him driving through. There's enough clean air in the car to drive about 5 miles. Flaming 100-foot-tall pines. This is a wall of fire. It does, and everything will be burned to a crisp. Trees will still stand because, again, they're wet. So by the time the fire blows through, right, he doesn't. Now they go on to talk about the possibilities of why they might burn it down to get the land to put in a pipeline. Everything I said has nothing to do with whether or not these fires were arson. Or whether or not there are some, New World Order nefarious purpose behind it. That's not what I'm talking about. Completely open to that. But one of the reasons why the fires were so effective, and this is the last point, here is an article from January 19th of this year on the New York Times. California, 100 million dead trees prompt fears of giant wildfires. This is New York Times. They're going to, calling Trump, no. That's got nothing to do with it. Well, here's an article from New York Times right up there saying it. That the amount of dead wood that's laying around in the fires. There's another one. This is more recent, October. California has 129 million dead trees. That's a huge fire risk. And I'll put these links up for further study. My point is that what happens is, you normally speaking, you would actually you would harvest out the dead wood. You go in and you take out the wood. It's firewood. I mean, you harvest the dead wood. It's a firewood. Perfect, right? And so companies will go in and harvest dead wood. But there's beetles that live in the wood and it decays. We can't let that happen, right? So, and this is California, which is highly known for this kind of thing. So they say, no, don't go in there. You can't do the wood. And also they would go look at trees that are bad, and they look at, oh, that one's going to, and they may cut them down and harvest them because they're bad. So that what happens is, if there is a forest fire, and there always is one that comes along, the fuel on the ground is minimal. So it doesn't turn into raging fire which goes up the trees, because you have all this tonnage on the ground that's ready tinder fire, ready burning. So they come in, they clean out, they trim out some of the bad trees, and this has been stopped because of environmental reasons. So they speak. And this is where the conspiracy can come in. That's what they say. Were they prompting to have a fire? I can't answer that. I won't rule it out. Some people say it's silly. I won't rule it out, but I'm not going to say what it is. The facts are, they used to go in and clean out the dead wood. They used to have controlled burns so that it wouldn't happen. They stopped all of this. Bingo, right? You have the Santa Ana winds, which you talk to people who live in California, it happens. Right? These winds come up, and they're big. So if you have a fire and you have megatons, 100 million to 129 million dead trees laying on the ground, and half dead trees are standing, you have all that the dryness, you have these giant winds. What do you think is going to happen? You're going to have a wall of fire, and you're going to have embers blown all over the hell in creation. Of course, we'll start new fires. Did somebody start it? Were there arsons involved? Perhaps. They've already found arsons and other fires. Was it a New World Order plan to clear areas out? I've seen articles talking about possible subways or pipelines, or trying to... that all could happen. That's not the point of this particular presentation. Presentation is, it's not direct energy weapons. It's because there's dead wood, no control burning, high winds, and the two methods for the fire to spread, wallow fire and embers, all explain all of the pictures, all of the damage, all of the problem. And so my theory is not to go after, and I'm going to prove this wrong. No, the direct energy weapons has to be proved right. Everything has to be proved right. Everything I said has to be proven. These are all logical, historical things that have happened. You saw the pictures from 1961 fires. Same deal. You've seen the guy do the experiment with the wet wood and the dry wood. There it is. You know, I showed you about the picture with the... I mean, these are all things. These are all very important things to show you what the real deal is on this. Now, the problem is, there's two, in epilogue, there's two things here. One, there is a New World Order. There is Agenda 21. They do want to control population. They do want to get rid of national sovereignty. That's a whole, you could do show after show after show after show, showing all of the evidence. Without a doubt, this is happening. You don't need to have paperwork supposedly found written by this, that, and the other thing. I mean, the actions speak louder than any words of what's going on. I mean, look at the video I had earlier today with the EU guy getting really upset. They're not giving us our sovereignty. There you go, right? So there is this thing going on. And wildfire or not, it's still going on. And they are going to try and disarm the people in America. They are going to try and disarm them through treaties. I've been reading that this Mexico, Canada, USA thing isn't all that great either. It still takes away sovereignty from the individual country into conglomerates. So it's still not the be-all, end-all. And so these are the things that's going on. All these are, so my problem is, when somebody comes up with, it's the New World Order trying to burn away with direct energy weapons, what happens is the propaganda media, whose job it is to hide this New World Order, to make fun of people who talk about it, they bring up, oh, look at these people. They're talking about lasers, weapons from the sky, burning the fires, and they all make fun of you. Just like the Alex Jones thing. They make fun of Alex Jones. And so what I'm saying is that the problem, the internet is the greatest invention since the Gutenberg press. And frankly, the YouTube is the greatest invention since the internet. And there's beautiful ways to get information out there away from the propaganda control of governments and their minions. And so if you can't stop the control of it, which they are trying, and they are having some success, succeeding. Success. You have to discredit it, and here you go. Beams from space. We know the beams exist. You know they're real. John Hutchinson, Dirty Wood. There is cellular weapons. You have HARP, which takes energy from here and puts it at a focal point in the sky. We know they exist. So, in order to hide the existence of those weapons, to hide the New World Order, they'll make fun of the person saying that energy beams are hitting the forest. That's why I get upset at this stuff. I mean, I get upset of it like going, people have to calm down and do some thinking and researching. I mean, I've passed along pictures and files that turned out to be a hoax, or at least ill-informed. I've done it. We all have done it. So I'm not sitting here in some high horse saying like, well, you should do it like me. No, I've done it. I've been corrected, and when I have, I've said, you're right. And I'll put it up there. I'll leave it up there. I'll leave the correction up there, and it'll be a warning. What is that? Samwise from Lord of the Ring. It'd be a warning to numbskulls or something like that. He said. I mean, this is what happens. We all learn. We all move on. And so I wanted to do this to show these simple facts. These are simple science facts, historical facts, reproducible in the laboratory, as you saw him do with the wood. Very good video by this guy. A very good system setup. And now what we need to do is say, well, why the fires? Well, the simplest way is the bad management, like Trump said, and got yelled at by everybody. Not trimming the wood, not control burns. Santa Ana comes along. All you need is somebody with a match. An arsonist, an accident, campfire, wires are going down and hitting things. All of that stuff is how it got started. But if they would have taken care of the forests, the odds of it being this dramatic and terrible wouldn't be there. So now they're going to, of course, cover their butts because they don't want to. Dirty Brown and others don't. No, that's Trump. He's crazy, But if we all used our heads and got together and tried to find reality, and I want reality, right? I don't care what it is. Bad news, good news, reality. Because if it's reality, it can't come and bite me in the ass. I want to know, okay, will this roof take my weight? Yeah, it should be okay. And then I fall through, all right? That's reality is, no, it is. Yes, it isn't. There's evidence for it. And now you can confidently walk on the roof or whatever, whatever you want to say. This is what the deal is. People have to try and find answers. And everything's blamed on MK Ultra and all this stuff. Now, MK Ultra is real. There's real documents. It really happened. They destroyed lives. It's utterly disgusting. But most likely it's proved to be, and the reason why it was, you got a hold of it through, it was proved to be ineffective. It's not dependable. Not dependable to take a person and spend all kinds of time and money and break the person down into pieces, then put in some magic stuff into them, say a keyword, have them go kill a bunch of people. No, it's not dependable in reality. What is dependable is you break down somebody, you make them, set them up as a patsy, and then you send in a couple guys to do the job, make sure everything's fine. And they get out of there. That is more realistic, where MK Ultra is used to destroy these people and patsies and control them lightly, as a patsy, and then you bring in the real people who are dependable. That's more likely in the situations. And so this is, I started out back in the Art Bell days in the 90s, listening to them do this stuff. I was all excited about these new topics they're talking about. It's all cool. And I used to think that, well, these people are telling, not only were they telling the truth, but they were correct. Now, a lot of them could be telling the truth as they believe it, but they weren't correct. And one by one, as I'm listening to Art Bell over the years, one by one of these guys, like, keep thinking, now I'm not going to remember names now because I'm seeing their faces. And when I see the faces, I can't remember the names. The guy from the Enterprise mission, the face on Mars, Hoagland. He went from one to another, kept on going with it. He's smart, he's clever, he's really smart, but he's able to whip up some snake oil here and there to go along, and he keeps going on and on and the whole thing QAnon. I mean, all these things. I mean, QAnon goes back to bulletin boards that were back in the turn of the century. Yeah. Is it a second caravan or a third? Just in a third caravan, I think it is. Starts from El Salvador. This is an invasion, but let me go back to this. So there's people. Why would they lie, or why would they? There's people who want to be heard. They want to be famous. They want to have their name in lights. They want to be known. They want to go, hey, you're so and so. There's money involved, which is more than fame or money. People want to blame secret societies. There are secret societies. What's this? Oh. Just saw somebody wrote secret society. There are all these things are real. But what they do is they become superhuman. They become mythical proportions. They become Hercules. All of these, they get into these areas. So I don't want to go off at a tangent now. I'm doing this, and I wanted to put together this. The video was the perfect evidence to show exactly how one of these works. So what you can also do if you share the show, what you can do is you can go past whatever I started talking and get to this point. That's why sometimes I don't like to combine. I'm watching it, but you can't because I don't have it set up here. Here's the shooting. Boom. Takes a picture. Just remember that. That explains it all. And share this video to people who were talking about it. All right, so that is that. I think somebody's asking for Richard Miller in the chat room. It's about time to have him back. Richard Miller, I didn't want. He's been posting some of this stuff, and I was possibly looking to have him talk about this. But I think we could just have some fun rather than do that because it's pretty well explained here. Any questions in the chat room? Well, as mentioned in the chat room, the caravans are coming in there. The caravan is a socioeconomic crime invasion. The powers that be are sending poor and violent people, poor and or violent. I mean, there's going to be poor people, there's going to be violent people, there's going to be violent poor people who are coming here and have some propagandic charged up. This is our land originally and all this stuff. This our land originally stuff is getting old because nobody's land was originally. I mean, Adam got kicked out of the garden. So, hey, give me that garden back. So, it's a weapon. It's a human weapon. I remember in 6th grade, substitute teacher did a thing on China. Said there's so many people in China that they could simply march them to Europe and they would run out of bullets. Of course, this is assuming no nuclear devices are done. He would run out of conventional weapons because of the number of people. I remember him saying that. Well, here we go. Here's an example. They're sending up, and so what's supposed to happen is, well, you can't shoot them because, oh, you're killing innocent people because you have the propaganda media in the back just waiting for something to go like this. They have probably got stories pre-written. Just put in names and numbers and put it on there. Somebody just wrote, Ray just wrote that California fire is apparently affecting Edward Air Force Base. And so you have some other things in there. There's people who claim that there are Chinese tanks hidden in Mexico. Now, I think that the U.S. could find those from the air if they needed to. So I don't believe that story. But what you do have is you have a human shield which could be propagandically used as a weapon. That's why it's a weapon. These are a weapon. They're human beings, but they're a weapon. No question about it. And they're being sent here. They've been given sanctuary in Mexico. They've been offered jobs and visas, and they refuse them. No, we're going to America. So, and these are on video. This is the videos I've been posting. So this is not some kind of just white racist fantasy or whatever. This is what it is. And you got people in Mexico complaining about them, and they're of the same ethnicity. It's not about race. It's about your national home, if you will. And you don't want people pushing away from a whole different lifestyle, whole different their social, economic, and criminal drain. Whether the people are innocent as they're driven to snow, and they've been misled to come here for freedom. They can wait for months and months for processing, or they're considered invaders and will be processed that way. I mean, that's all there is to it. So people have talked about, well, wait a minute, I said, you got a home. You have a door on it. You have a lock. You have a fence. You have a yard. The borders of a nation are an extension of your front door, your borders, your land. And that's how it is now. If it's inequity, people say, well, America and Britain, when they were taking over countries and all that, that's all fine and dandy. You can't go back and recompense and redo the past. You can't go back and change things I did in my life. I can only go from this point onward. And this is how we have to go. All right, so I'm gonna call it anything else. I'm gonna call it a day here. I have to. I guess it's been up doing without problem. So pass this video around for people to. And if you want to fast forward to the beginning of the fire, that's fine. Because I did talk about the migrants and some other news, so it's up to you. And looking in the chat room, last minute, last call. Actually, I didn't look in these. Okay. Last call, anything? And, okay. There's probably a delay, but I got to go. And we'll see you again next time. Where is the ending? And God bless. Seek truth. The truth will set you free from the bondage of delusion. And reality has the keys for your and our success in life. And that's to become more like God for the next level. That's the focus. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.